So, as you guys probably already know, I used to help edit with Nick Kelly's stuff. And I saw some of his stuff lately, and a lot of his stuff looked pretty much like what it usually does. Now, I'm not going to shit on Nick because, I think Nick can do very good. He's a good guy. But I just want to, put out there, Nick, that um, you you could have done better, dude. I expected a lot from you. And knowing that, you're still out there, you're doing stuff, I'm happy for him. I think that's a great thing that he's out there doing his stuff. But if he would have kept me as his editor, I think he would have survived. But you notice how a lot of times on his channel it's trolls. That's because that's all it is. It's just trolls on there going after him and just, you know, saying some weird ass shit. Because what I don't think Nick really understands is that if people were there and cared for him, they would be there to do it. But not all of them are trolls, but some of them are. And I have this thing where it's kind of like would I wish Nick the best, and I think Nick has done a great job. I think honestly Nick can continue to thrive, but there's a lot of things I think Nick can do better for his channel, and I think there's a lot of things that I'm sure I could do better on my channel. But that's the thing, is that Nick is going to do whatever Nick is going to do. As much as I may, cheers by the way for all of you, may or may not like it, Nick is going to be the way he is. And I'm sorry that, to Nick, that I didn't get to be your editor for very long. I'm sorry that shit happened that just went off on the deep end. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that shit happened, bro. But we got to be honest with ourselves, though. A lot of the things that you as a content creator should know is when people are being genuine and disingenuous with you. And I'm not saying that there's a lot of alleged disingenuous people on there, or there's a lot of alleged genuine people on there, but Nick, you are a good person. You are a content creator. You are one of those content creators that honestly I think you could thrive doing better. You could do a lot of things better, in my opinion, but you choose to do the things you want to do in your own way, and that's fine too. But Nick, don't get it twisted that people are just watching you because of certain other particular reasons. They're watching you, Nick, because you kind of put yourself out there to this point. And I think, Nick, honestly, you could have saved yourself if you would have just allegedly listened to me and what I would have had to offer you as a editor. And that's fine. Again, I'm not hard pressed, but Nick, I'm happy to see that he's out there succeeding a lot, and I'm not riding, hoping that he rides on coattails with me and follows along with me. But I'm happy to see that Nick's doing somewhat good. He's got 7K followers or subscribers. I'm proud of him. But like I said, he could do a lot better. Camera angle, just presentation wise, just a lot of things. The turtle in the background, I do like that a little bit. That is kind of a big change of scenery from the last time I've seen a lot of his stuff. I think that is a good thing that he's finally doing that. But Nick just really got to work on some stuff and really work on putting moderators that he can trust on there. Do I think Nick's channel could go as far as a sensation? I mean, he could if he really, really dug down deep and 10 toesed it. I think Nick could do whatever he wanted to do. He could be a fucking YouTube sensation in time, with due time, with, editing better, doing things better, um, just getting rid of some of the trolls. I think, honestly, in my opinion, I think Nick could do 10 times better. But again, it's not for me to decide. But do I think Nick is doing okay right now? Yeah, I think he's okay ish. But I mean, for all that it's worth right now, there's a lot of things that, like I said, I know Nick, and knowing Nick a little bit enough to know what kind of he needs to do. There are certain things I know that probably will agitate him if he's kind of the guy that wants to fly by the seat of your pants, by the seat of his pants, and I like that. That's a sometimes not a bad thing. Sometimes you got to go with it. Sometimes it's okay to fly by the seat of your pants and say, let's just fucking roll a live stream and see where it goes. I think that's kind of where Nick is at his life and point and journey, is that he just rolls the camera and says, fuck it, whatever happens, happens. And that's kind of the side of Nick that I think I've definitely think that he could kind of capture in that moment of goodness in him, is that he could do a lot of things. He could do skits, he could do, just stupid shit or funny shit or funny stuff or whatever, or go by the seat of his pants. Nick is pretty good sometimes at just doing whatever he does. But does that come at a cost? Yes. There is costs that do kind of go with it, but it's just about time, patience, and effort. And I do see a lot of Nick working and sometimes, trying to do things that he can do to better himself day by day or live stream by live stream sometimes. And cheers. But, I suspect Nick kind of by day just goes vicariously. He ventures into his own world of where he wants to be and he feels comfortable. And who am I again to say whether Nick should or shouldn't? I can't really go against it or defend it. But as Nick's friend or somebody that knows Nick Kelly and has seen a lot of his stuff, I think Nick, honestly, there's a lot, dude, of potential out there for you, more than you want to ever imagine. Now, this isn't like a call out where I'm just saying bad shit about you. This is just me telling you, honestly, as somebody that watches you, sees your shit and your stuff and what you do, and you do kind of shift around a lot with time to time. He does shift into his own world, whether it's gaming or just feeding into the chat live stream. And I think it's okay sometimes, just to sit back, kick back, and say, "Fuck it, let the chat roll and see what they say, and just have fun with them." But then sometimes there's points where you kind of do need to buck up a little and kind of hold the reins on that one. And yes, I do pull the reins on my own chat because I know what my chat is capable of doing. Sometimes it can get very chaotic. Sometimes it's pretty mellow. Like right now, it's pretty dead for whatever amount of people we have. But that's the one thing that I can see in Nick. Is whether Nick wants to be a gamer or a live streamer, I think honestly, Nick does have potential for a lot of things. Now, if Nick could capitalize on some of his stuff, I think that would definitely mark it as, gaining more subscribers and stuff. I think I could see Nick going up past the 7 mark and going up to 8, 9, 10, 20, 40, 100, thousands, millions, billions, zillions, whatever. Infinite numbers of subscribers. Just a shit ton of subscribers if he continues to do good stuff. And knowing that Nick is really capable of doing this, I think I've seen Nick on days where he has been down. And I've seen days where Nick has had his ups, where he's okay, and then he's just like, okay, I'm shitty. And I know that a lot of it has to do with partially being that he's dealing with his own personal life, which is fine. He should be allowed to. And then he's got the YouTube life. I know sometimes for Nick that does get a little overbearing and a little anxious for the guy. And Nick, I'm gonna help you a little bit here by giving you one piece of advice that I always love to give people. Don't let it get to you. That's just all I gotta say to you. Don't let this shit get to you, dude. Because honestly, Nick, it has that potential to sometimes allegedly let things kind of get to him a little bit, which I understand. I do too sometimes. I'm kind of sometimes that way. But that's part of YouTube, is that you're going to have to deal with things that come and go into this world. But Nick, I know, can deal with a lot. And seeing how Nick is and how he has been, a lot of his videos, honestly, it's good that he's been monetized finally. I'm happy to see that. That's a definite plus for him. I'm really pleased with it. And I'm pleased to see that at least Nick is doing something for himself. And it would be kind of remiss to say, yeah, I miss the phone calls and the dip sesh with him and talking to him just as a friend and as an editor. I do miss that. I do miss a lot of that with him. But knowing that, again, Nick kind of chose what he wanted to do, that was his thing. I'm not angry about it. I'm not riding his coattail about it. But I'm happy to see that Nick is actually doing something, finally. And I'm proud of Nick. I think, Nick, you just need to keep going, dude. Honestly, the way that you are going right now, that's your choice. I would have chose a little bit different path, but that's me. But in hindsight, I guess you learn. And Nick is learning a lot about not just himself as a creator, content creator, and as a YouTuber, but as a person himself. He's learning his ropes, his reins. And I feel like that is good. I feel like Nick should learn and be comfortable. But there are times where I see Nick kind of looking like he's not very comfortable, which kind of makes me worried a little bit. But I know he's okay. But I do think back to the times that, Nick is really good with joking with people. And I think that's something else right there that I see with Nick is that he could do like his whole channel based on comedy sash, whether it's stand up, whether it's just corny jokes, as long as it's not racist jokes. I think he can suffice with being a comedian. There's a lot I think Nick could do. And Nick is doing a lot of what he wants. And again, I see that, and I realize that I'm proud of him for doing it. But I I do miss a lot of the times, just talking to him and saying hey and being his editor. Yes, but that doesn't mean that I can still not watch out for him, because I do. As a content creator, I do try to watch for channels like Nick, help support, and kind of look into, hey, what can they do or what do they need? So if there's ever a time where Nick would have called me and said, hey, conservative, I need your editing expertise, I would always give that to him. But now that he's not really editing as much, I think that's okay too, to just kind of raw dog it, if you will. I think that is a good idea. If he chooses to raw dog it, I don't see a problem with him raw dogging it. But he should be able to try to edit a little bit, at least just a little. But in hindsight, I think Nick Kelly, you're doing a great job, dude. You're honestly doing a very good job. That your channel's doing what you want it to do. You got that 7K going for you. I'm proud of you, dude. I'm really proud of you. I hope that you keep going, you succeed, and you do what you love, man. Don't give up. Don't let people get to you, dude. I know sometimes YouTube can be a real pain in the butt, but don't let it get to you, bud. You know that people are going to be there to support you or either laugh at you or laugh with you. But it seems like you're doing a good job, so I can't complain. So, Nick, keep going, buddy. Miss talking to you. Hope to hear from you soon. Just keep on going. Keep on packing them hogs. And we'll see you later. See you later, buddy.